another episode of Play Action Takes podcast, Apollo Media's NFL podcast. Today, Stone, we have, in my opinion, the toughest, hardest, craziest division to predict. I was so excited for this episode to talk about it with you. We got the NFC North today. Your thoughts, just overall, all four divisions, before we get into each team and in our predictions. This is a insane division, man. Just not even just to talk about, just to watch every single week.
It's that, and there's no losing records from last season, and like two of the teams significantly underperformed. One of the teams maybe overperformed with their quarterback play, and then you had the Bears kind of coming out of nowhere with the new coach, Caleb Williams, kind of coming on the scene. They were winning in Lambeau. They're beating people. They got coach controversies all over the place. This is a really fun division to talk about.
Yeah, and I'll say, like, whoever finishes last in this division could win the AFC South. They could definitely win the NFC South. And that's how damn good this division is. So let's get into it. First team on the docket, Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions last season got killed by the injury bug, missed the playoffs in a season, to me, where it was supposed to be possible Super Bowl run for this team.
Yeah.
The one thing I'll remember most about the 2025 Lions is Dan Campbell wasn't as good on fourth down as he has been his entire tenure there.
Yeah, but I think that's kind of chance, right? Like,
yeah.
The analytics
just
guy's
something I
down
noticed. Just something I noticed.
The analytics guy's going to call down and he's like, it's a 55% chance that you score 4 more points here instead of 3 more points here if you go for it on fourth. So it's a 5% chance of a coin flip, you know. Yeah, I think the Lions got bit by the injury bug, right? But they also got bit by losing their coordinators after having a really, 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 really good season the season before, going to the NFC Championship. Ben Johnson goes, and then you lose your defensive coordinator as well. So, like, when you lose both coordinators, your stability, your infrastructure kind of crumbles a little bit, right? You got to bring somebody up. You got to hire somebody new. Either that's going to be a new system, or it's going to be a coach that's going to have to learn that system because they like the system that they have already in place. So when that happens, things get a little bit shaky. We saw it with the Patriots year after year after year during their dynasty. Like, they'd win a Super Bowl, but then the next year they'd lose Charlie Weiss or they'd lose Romeo Cornell, whatever it was, as a coordinator, and they wouldn't be as good the next year because their infrastructure kind of faltered a little bit. So they had to build their infrastructure back up. I think the Lions are building that back up this season.
Yeah, Aiden Hutchinson coming back this season. So I think that'll bolster their defense. Sam Laporta coming back. That'll bolster their offense. They do go with the bell cow running back approach with Jahmyr Gibbs. David Montgomery goes to the Houston Texans. So we'll see. We'll kind of see how that kind of figures out in this division. I think this team's going to be good. I think they're going to have Jared Goff playing well like he always does in the regular season. He's going to put up numbers. Yeah, I think the Lions are going to be there at the end of January. I think look for this team to make the playoffs. They're going to be one of these teams where the previous year that didn't make the playoffs, I think it's going to change and they will make the playoffs this season. It's just a question of how good are they going to be. Man, this division has a lot of good teams. Like I said before, the team that's going to finish fourth is a damn good team. That's how stacked this division is. And if they can kind of get through the gauntlet of this division, I like their chances in January, obviously. But not much else on the Lions except for they kind of brought everybody back.
Yeah,
kind of same team, a year older. So I like the Detroit Lions.
And the Lions brought in Isaiah Pacheco as well to their running back room. So, like, it's not like they're just like, hey, Jahmyr, you're taking every single snap here now. Pacheco is going to be completely serviceable as a backup. He was fine as a starter in Kansas City. He was fine. Like, he wasn't good. He wasn't great. He wasn't bad, though. He was fine. So you throw him in there, and he gets to get a few snaps, few carries here on the drive. If you're doing 10, 11, 12 play drives, he gets 2 carries. Or 2 plays, that's fine. You get Jahmyr Gibbs, probably the best running back in the game right now. He's going 1-1 in a lot of fantasy drafts going around today. Yeah, you got a lot of weapons. Your defense is going to get a little bit better. Just having Hutchinson back, I think the continuity of the having the coordinators together and just another year of infrastructure is going to help them a lot. It's going to go a long ways. And Jared Goff, quite frankly, wasn't that good last year, so he can have a good bounce back season. They got the new uniforms for the rivalry edition. I know that came out yesterday, I believe, so that was interesting. But yeah, I think the Lions are going to be just fine. The problem is that they're in probably the hardest division in football.
Yeah, I don't even think it's probably. I think it's definitely the hardest division in football. But I think
Yeah.
they're a good enough team to kind of maneuver all of that and still kind of be there kicking and fighting at the end of it.
Yep, for sure.
Next team, the Green Bay Packers, a team that I would love to believe in, but it just seems every season for like the past 2 or 3 years, this team starts off really, really well. Um, Last year they got Micah Parsons in a trade. Their offense was looking amazing like the first few weeks of the season, and then they kind of faltered off. Were kind of inconsistent. They make the playoffs. Obviously, everybody remembers the two games against the Chicago Bears, one in the regular season, the other in the playoffs. And really, really both of them in the regular season were amazing games to watch. Um, so the Green Bay Packers, to me, I'm not going to make the same mistake that I did last season of believing in them preseason. I'm going to wait on this team. I think this team is good, not great. Um, Hot take controversy is I think Jordan Love is average. I think he's okay. I don't think he's really cemented himself into that top 5 conversation yet.
No.
And I think if he does that, this team's going to be really, really good. It's just with Jordan Love, we're the number one receiver thing just keeps coming back to me. It's just they didn't have one last season.
Yeah.
I think they're hoping that Golden can be that guy for them this season. They lost Romeo Dobbs. But the one thing I will say about this offense is Taylor Kraft, amazing tight end, monster. You hope he's healthy because if he is, I think that'll go a long way for this team.
Yeah, the first thing I think about with the Packers is that they pretty much like almost fired Matt LaFleur last season and then gave him a contract extension. Like, did they panic? Did they not just like, hey, we're rolling into this last season. You are on a prove-it deal. We'll have this on the table at the end of the season if you can do X, Y, and Z. If you just make the playoffs, can you win the playoff game? Yeah, we'll give you the 3-5 year extension, whatever it's going to be, but you got to have to go do that on your last year of your deal, which is like a death sentence for a coach. So I understand why he wants the deal and the agent wants the deal. They wanted job security and all that kind of stuff. But the Packers, like, they're not run by anyone necessarily. Like, they don't have an owner. They're owned by the people. So I think that's kind of just strange. They have like a chairman or whatever that runs the team for them. It's just like, if you're going to fire your coach, just fire your coach. If you're not going to fire your coach, don't even think about firing your coach, right? And they thought a little bit too much for my liking. Jordan Love, I think he's a good quarterback. I don't think he's a great quarterback. He's probably in that top. He's definitely in the top 10. I think he's right around that 10 mark, 8 to 10 probably. He can raise your ceiling. However, you didn't reward him with a bunch of weapons, but Tucker Kraft is probably the best tight end in the game last season for 6 games of the year until he tore his ACL. So if he comes back healthy, yeah, they're going to be really good on that front. But again, there's no number one wide receiver, and it just pains me. We talked about it every week last year. I can't do it. I just need a number one wide receiver. And if Matthew Golden's going to be that guy, perfect. I would have rather him just stuck with number 22. I know he switched to 0 right before the season started. I think 22 would have been interesting. I think that would have been more fun. I don't know if he could have been number 1, but maybe he was more consistent that way. I'm a big number guy, so we'll see.
Yeah, I will say about the Packers, I think the main question on this team is what's their ceiling. I just think nobody really knows what this team's ceiling is. With these other teams around the NFL, we can kind of say, okay, this is their ceiling. This is how good they're going to be if everything goes right. Am I ready to say that like they're going to win the division? They're going to be a top seed in the playoffs? I'm not there yet with this team. And it's not even because of the health. It's just part of it is the number one wide receiver thing. And then the other part of it is, what does Josh Jacobs look like? Because when Josh Jacobs got to Green Bay, we were all thinking, man, what a move. They needed a running back. They're going to be an amazing freaking offense. Like this is the quintessential last piece missing team uh, to get them over the hump kind of move. Or that's what I thought it was going to be. It hasn't worked out that way. They've kind of he's played well, but they've kind of bottomed out in the second round of the playoffs, which if you're a Green Bay Packer fan, that's not the standard. So
Yeah, I think
that's my thought on the Green Bay Packers.
You mentioned Josh Jacobs. I go to the other side of the ball. Micah Parsons. He just tore his ACL like last after, or like one of the last few games of the season, right? So you lose him, and when does he come back? Because you got him, and then solely relied on him to create your pass rush. The other 3-4 guys that you were rushing were not creating the pass rush for you. It was you were just like, hey, Micah, go get a sack for us. We need a sack. And he still got 12 or whatever he did last season. Like, he was still really good, but to have one guy have to be the only guy going to get sacks was kind of tough. I think that's not great. Their secondary is kind of iffy, I think. So there's a lot more question marks I have on this team than I did last season. When they got Micah Parsons, like, shit, they're going to be great. And they were just fine. They gave up 40 points to the Cowboys early in the season. That Cowboys team was just not very good. So, not great.
Yeah, one last thing on the Packers. I think the Packers a few years ago was the best version of the Green Bay Packers that we are going to see.
Mm-hmm.
And even that team lost to the 49ers in the playoffs.
Yeah, they kind of just didn't capitalize on it. They ran into a team that just kind of owned them for a number of years, right? Every year, whether they were home or on the road in San Fran, like they were losing that game in the playoffs. So they had the boogeyman,
and they were so close to upsetting that team too. So I think going back to that team, like that team was really, really good. Maybe not had the names that the team now has, but I don't know on the Packers yet. I don't know.
Good, not great.
Yeah. Moving on, third team. My favorite team to watch last season, my favorite quarterback to watch last season, Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears. The Ben Johnson post-game speech videos were fucking awesome from this team every single week. And the Chicago Bears are one of these teams where I kind of pay attention to the power rankings in the offseason just to see where different guys have different teams.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people think this is a top 7 team in the NFL. Some people think it's a top 6 team in the NFL. I think a lot of it is we are kind of feeding into the Caleb Williams, aura that's been seeming to go around after the last few games that he played. Mm-hmm. I think these two quarterbacks were involved in a controversial post-game little thing a few years ago, and I kind of want to bring it up. Caleb Williams and CJ Stroud, right? I think it's interesting because when you look at the last few games these quarterbacks have played, it's on opposite sides of the spectrum as far as like approval rating wise. With CJ Stroud, obviously we know like his last 2 games were awful. People are shitting on him all offseason, all this stuff going on. With Caleb Williams, it's the exact opposite. We saw him pull off these comeback wins. And is it fair to say that some of us are higher than we should be on Caleb Williams right now?
I don't even think it has anything to do with Caleb Williams. I think it has to do with the defense on this team. Like, they were really good defense last year. They had the most turnovers in the league. As a fan of a team that had the most turnovers in the league one season, that is... You put yourself in position to create your own luck. I get all that, but turnovers at the end of the day are luck. Ball possession is luck, right? The interceptions are luck. The fumbles are luck.
Yeah.
That is going to flip at some point, whether that happens this season or the next. Who's to say? I'm just weary of that because they created so many turnovers on defense last year, and yet they still gave up 415 points, which was most in the division. Their defense wasn't exceptional except for the turnover ratio, which was great. That's why they won a lot of games last year. Caleb Williams was the reason that they won a lot of games last year. Ben Johnson was the reason they won a lot of games last year. They've got to figure out how to stop the ball. They have to create three and outs. They got to get more punts. They got to get more field goal attempts as opposed to touchdowns on the defensive side of the ball. I think I'm more weary of that than I am about the offense, which the offense is it's fine. I think their running back room is not that great. It's DeAndre Swift and a bunch of like people. The wide receiver room, like Rome Odunze, didn't really do much last year. Cole Kmet's probably like your most reliable guy in that room, but Luther Burden's getting all this buzz in preseason now, but then he just got hurt. So it's like you run into a little bit of things on offense, but I think I trust Ben Johnson to make sure that that room is good. I'm just curious to see what the defense looks like with the turnover ratio that they had last season coming into this season.
Yeah, they won a lot of close games too. A lot of comeback wins last season. So I think you're right. We might see that kind of flip. It's to me, it's how much is it going to flip, and is the offense in year two with all these weapons that they have, and with Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson, are they going to be able to overcome that? I think is going to be the main thing to watch with this team. And you forgot one guy on this team that I feel like a lot of people are high on, especially fantasy wise, Colston Loveland, the tight end.
Like Tyler Warren's better. I don't know. It's like we're talking about that.
I'm a big Michigan guy, so I had to hype up Colston Loveland on the podcast. Shout out Michigan. But no, I think this team's going to be interesting to watch. Like Caleb Williams, I mean, you know it. I know him, one of my favorite players to watch. He's so fun to watch as a non-Chicago Bears, non-NFC North fan. I'm excited to see his kind of the step he takes in his development this season as a quarterback.
Yeah,
because the flash play is obviously there, but when you watch Caleb Williams, a lot of it is he shouldn't be throwing as many picks as he does. But I am willing to give him a pass on it because the touchdowns that he throws, the throws he can make are fucking ridiculous. Just fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, all the highlight plays are absolutely unreal. Yeah. Can we work on the stuff that's just like the fundamental easy plays that should just get you 7 to 10 yards, 7 to 12 yards even? Like those are the things he's got to be more consistent at. And I think another year in the system, another year with Ben Johnson, another offseason with him, a little bit more comfortability with the team after winning a playoff game, right? Kind of becoming the guy in the city. I'm also just a little bit worried about the juju around the Chicago Bears since they're moving to Indiana.
Yeah.
That's bad.
It's weird.
Really
it's very bad. Weird.
It's just bad. It's not even weird. It's bad. Biggest city in the country. You cannot leave that city.
Yeah, it's a great sports city.
It's amazing, such a good town. Like they love their sports there. They're Boston but nicer. Is kind of how I look at Chicago sports fans. Like they're Boston sports fans nutty wise, right? They're so passionate about their teams, but they're just not as mean to you, which is nice. So yeah, I can't believe that they're leaving it. They had the plan for Arlington Heights, and then the city was like, we don't want to give you the money. They're gonna move to another state because of it. And I know it's only like an extra 15 more minutes. Everyone keeps pointing it out. It's not that far. You're leaving the city and the state. That's crazy to me. The Indiana Bears, that's what they're gonna be next year. Or 5 years from now, whenever.
It just doesn't sound right to me. Just doesn't sound right.
They're not going to change their name too. So it's like the New York Giants and Jets. I get what they're doing. They're out in the Meadowlands, but Jersey and New York, there's a lot of people that work in New York and live in Jersey that can consider themselves New Yorkers. You can kind of get away with that one. The Chicago Bears of Indiana. Are we going like the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim? Which also the Angels, it's just Angels is their name. Because Anaheim and Los Angeles and Angels are all the same thing. They all mean angels in a different language. So that one's tough. So at least you're not doing that. But bad. So I'm worried about the juju there. That freaks me out a little bit. Fans are going to be pissed.
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird thing to me. You know, we talked about the new rivalry uniforms in the last episode.
Yeah,
I saw someone on Twitter, like they came out with the new logos, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they came out with the Chicago Bears logo, and someone changed it to Hammond. It just didn't hit the same. Just didn't hit the same.
This round of rivalry jerseys was so much worse than last year's.
You want to talk about it?
Overall, yeah, we can talk about it. The Texans one was great. I think it was the best one.
Yeah,
it's the only one that was good, maybe.
I think the Texans one looks cool. Obviously, you guys know how I feel about the Oiler color, like
Uh,
whatever.
yeah,
But all the other ones, like the Packers one, I feel like there's a theme. It looks cool, but what does it have to do with Green Bay? Is my thing.
nothing. And then someone switched the logo, like the weird GB that they had on the chest, out for like the Lambeau Field logo, and it changed the jersey completely. I was like, yeah, that's a good
That
jersey.
looks
You just switched the
that's
logo.
way better. Yeah,
That
I
one,
did.
the
I like
Vikings
the
was just
Vikings one. The Vikings
you.
one awesome.
Yeah, it's good,
Cool.
but it's like so much minimal effort. Like you didn't change too much. So it's like, what was even the point of adding another purple jersey that looks almost identical to what? And then they have like their new Ravens alternate helmets. Is how I saw the Vikings' new helmets with the gold face mask and everything. Like that's what it reminded me of.
Yeah.
So that was bad. The Bears one, like I feel like we've seen this jersey 16 times in the last 20 years from them. Like the Jaguars wearing Lululemon Jaguar print.
Yeah, they were cooking the Jaguars for that one.
The jerseys are sick though. The cream, like that part's phenomenal. Like if they just went straight cream pants, cream jersey, that would
We
have been a
love
really
everything above the waist. Below the waist, not
ruined it. They
not great.
ruined it.
Not
It's
great.
very funny, but they ruined. But yeah, the rivalry jerseys. I think they didn't necessarily nail it last year, but they did really well. I think this year they kind of missed the mark on almost all of them.
I think also last season, just fans, I guess like the hype factor of it wasn't really there. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if I was just living under a rock, but
Well,
I
yeah,
feel
because
like
they're only
this
rolling
season
out
there was
eight
way
teams at a time.
more hype.
They're rolling out 8 teams at a time, which it was weird because it was the NFC West and the AFC East last season. So like a lot of really big teams. I thought the 49ers, Seahawks, Rams, and the Cardinals, like the whole NFC West was phenomenal. I think the AFC East, I think they did really well with it. I think the Dolphins have the worst one out of that bunch somehow. And I like the Dolphins one. I bought a Willie Gay Dolphins rivalry jersey last season. So
I remember that. I remember
yeah,
that.
it's
Yeah.
going to be my jersey that I wear for probably every Sunday for the rest of my life because I don't know if I'll buy another Dolphins jersey until they win a Super Bowl or go to a Super Bowl maybe. So, or win a playoff game. Maybe if they win a playoff game, I'll buy another Dolphins jersey. But yeah, I think the hype this year because there was like less leaks, I think, around it until like the morning of it or the day before it happened. Right? I think that was the
Yeah,
difference.
yeah.
Last year there was leaks like all throughout the summer of what it was going to look like. Like I had the Dolphins one 2 months in advance. I had all the photo shoots of it. So it's like maybe there was more hype last year because we were talking about it for 3 months as opposed to 24 hours.
Yeah, I think maybe. And another thing on these jerseys, it's
Too many jerseys.
I think it's cool to like get the fans involved in all that stuff, but I think we've kind of reached a point with the jerseys where we're claiming that it's like an ode to the city and the city connect and the MLB and all this stuff. I think it's just another way for Nike to just release more jerseys. And there have been like fan created jerseys for like a lot of these teams where those some of those jerseys just look better.
The fans always do better.
Yeah.
The one that knows how to do Photoshop just always, those guys on Twitter, those girls on Twitter, they always just do better than what
They
Nike
always do a
produces.
great job, man. Always do a great job.
I've actually made a switch in my mindset. I've been checks over stripes for like the entirety of my life. I went to Mississippi State, so then I started getting into a little bit of Adidas. Loved the Ultra Boost shoe. That was kind of like my old faithful there. I think I'm ready to say it. I would rather Adidas and Fanatics take over every jersey across the sports
Sports world.
than have Nike involved in anything because their material is bad. Their effort is minimal. The Adidas is putting out banger after banger of college football jerseys right now, whereas Nike's not doing shit. And then they're just like their actual material and everything is like falling apart. The heat press jerseys, as opposed to what Fanatics and Adidas do. Adidas still stitches their jerseys, by the way. Every Mississippi State jersey I buy from Adidas, stitched. Phenomenal. The logo is stitched. The SEC logo is stitched. The number is stitched. It's all phenomenal. Fanatics is even doing that with hockey. Like, they're doing a really good job over at Fanatics, and they're not having as many rules around it. Nike, you get these jerseys and these jerseys only for this amount of years. Fanatics is over here. They made the Dallas Stars. Shout out to Clean Sheet of Ice, our Dallas Stars podcast. They had the new 99 retro logo come back in the new colors. They just switched it during the playoffs. They said, fuck it. That's our home jersey now. There was no rule around it. Like, they were just like, That's
Yeah.
the best jersey we have. That's the best uniform we have. We're going to roll that out during the playoffs. And they just started wearing it more than what they were scheduled to wear it last season. Nike has all these parameters where these rivalry jerseys that the Houston Texans got, which has the best logo, I think the helmet logo looks the best it's ever looked in these new uniforms. You get to wear it twice this year and next year, once per season, and then it's gone forever because Nike rules all. That's my issue with it.
Yeah, that's a whole nother podcast. Nike versus Adidas, Nike, too many rules, all this stuff.
I'll get off my soapbox.
But it's. I agree with you. They're just doing way too much, especially like you said, the quality wise with Nike is over the past few years in every sport. Like we first kind of came to this grievance with the MLB, or I did. It's
The
I
small
just don't
letters
like
and
it. I
everything, the
just
heat
don't like
press,
it.
the heat
Yeah, I
press
just don't
numbers.
like it.
Because even like the Adidas numbers aren't like crazy good material, but at least it's stitched. It's not heat pressed on. It's stitched into the jersey, so it's just not going to fall off if you wash it twice, and hang dry it. You wash and hang dry a Nike jersey, the number, the name, or the logo, something's peeling off within 2 washes. It's bad.
Terrible, terrible.
All right.
We kind of got off on a little tangent with
Yep,
the
we're back.
with the jerseys, but back on track. Chicago Bears. 10 wins. I think 10 wins is fair.
Yeah, I think that's a very reasonable number to get to. It's just, I think their offense is going to have to carry more than what their defense did last year.
I think so too. I think Caleb Williams, like, do I think he's going to have to be like an MVP candidate for this team to make the playoffs? I'm not going to go that far, but I think he's going to have to be really good. And I think he
Yep.
will be really good.
I agree.
Last team, a team that I picked to win the Super Bowl last season. My Michigan bias kind of took over my body at that time, I will admit, with JJ McCarthy. Don't roast me. Please don't roast me, guys. The Minnesota Vikings. I'll say I feel a lot better on the Minnesota Vikings this season than I even did last season.
Okay.
I think last season was just silly, JJ McCarthy agenda type thing for me. I actually, for real, feel really good about this team this season. I think if Kevin O'Connell can get out of Kyler Murray what he semi kind of got out of Sam Darnold, I think this team's going to be really good. Your former head coach with the Miami Dolphins, Brian Flores, running this damn defense. I mean, I don't know if you've been watching these preseason games, but Brian Flores does not give a fuck about preseason. He is going to like throw the kitchen sink at anybody. He does not care. This defense is amazing, man.
Yeah, and you look at the defense, right? And you're just kind of like picking out the names on the defense. Where are the names? Just think about that. Like, name me some defensive players for the Vikings, and I'll tell you if they're like a top player or not. Can you even name a guy?
I'm having a hard time thinking of one.
Like at a capital D dude, we have those dudes. That's a Beyond the Diamond reference, our Astros podcast. But like, there's no capital D dudes on this team. You got like Byron Murphy Jr. Like, he's really good. He's making a good amount of money at corner. Andrew Van Ginkel is your highest paid player on defense at $16 million a year. And Van Ginkel's incredible. I miss him on the Dolphins. I can't believe they didn't pay him an extra $1.5 million a year, I think is what it was. They didn't want to keep him because they had to pay some other people. Whatever. Van Ginkel's incredible. This defense is incredible. It's like a no-name defense. Brian Flores will run circles around you if given the chance. And he's been given the chance in Minnesota. He's stuck around too. I think he's taken a few head coaching interviews and decided that his situation in Minnesota was better. Continuity is huge. The defense is going to be good. Yeah, I'm just interested to see what the Kyler Murray experience looks like outside of Arizona. We're going from a dome to a different dome. However, Kyler Murray is 5'9", 5'10", on a good day, and he's playing in a division where you got to go to Green Bay, you got to go to Chicago when it's cold outside. You still get to play the Lions in a dome, which is nice, but you're going to play a lot of really cold weather teams. I'm curious to see what that looks like when you have a smaller, fast quarterback. Because as I think what our new Dolphins GM said, it was like fast can get slow in the cold, but big doesn't get small. Kyler Murray's pretty small, and he's got to go play cold. So I'm just curious to see what that looks like. But yeah, if he gives him the Sam Darnold type of thing, we're talking 11, 12 wins, easy.
You brought up the no names on this defense. I'm gonna read some names out to you. I got this. I got the depth chart pulled up.
Yeah.
3-4 defense. So left defensive end Levi Drake Rodriguez. Nose tackle rookie Caleb Banks. I love
He's a big dude
I
from
loved
Florida.
Caleb
I like
Banks
him.
coming out of Florida pre-draft.
Yeah.
On the other side, defensive end Jalen Redmond.
Mm-hmm.
The linebackers Andrew Van Ginkel, Eric
goat.
Wilson, Blake Cashman, Dallas Turner.
Okay. Yeah, Dallas Turner, first round pick, right? So
Yeah.
there's your name, unless you know about Andrew Van Ginkel, and that's just Dolphins fans and Vikings fans at this point.
Yeah. The secondary Charles Demings, Josh Metellus, Theo Jackson, James Pierre, Byron Murphy Jr.
It's just Byron Murphy Jr.
Yeah. So
Like
that kind of shows you like
yeah.
Brian Flores does not need like superstars. I mean, they had a semi. I wouldn't say he was a superstar, but I feel like he was their kind of biggest name. And Jonathan Grenard a couple years ago,
Yeah.
and now he's gone, went to the Eagles. But Brian Flores does not really need a whole lot of like superstar name guys, just because like the things he does with his defense is scheme wise is just insanity, chaos.
Yep.
Uh,
I mean,
it's
he's
crazy.
the reason that the Patriots won that Super Bowl against the Rams. That Rams team, Sean McVay's first Super Bowl, was that 2018, 2019 season. That they were running laps around people. They were putting up 40, 50 points. That Monday night game against the Chiefs in Mexico City, right? Like that was that game, like where they scored 40 and 50 points in double over or in overtime or whatever it was. Like
Yep.
that team scored a lot of points, and Todd Gurley couldn't do shit. Jared Goff couldn't do shit. There was no one on that team could do anything against what Brian Flores just schemed up for the fucking Super Bowl. They scored 3 points. This dude's a mastermind when it comes to defense. Handling people and a whole team and head coaching and running an organization, that was a different story in Miami. But at the end of the day, he was halfway right. He was just really wrong about how he treated people, I think, and how he really wanted Deshaun Watson on his team. That was an indictment on.
Looking back on that now, probably not the smartest.
You're right, and maybe he's
thought process.
Maybe he's a head coach in a year or two, and we talk about him in a completely different light. But that boy can run a fucking defense.
Yeah, that defense is, I think, again, going to be a top unit. I think it really comes down to offensively, like, can they satisfy Justin Jefferson? I mean, to me, I kind of go back to what Kyler Murray are we going to get? Because I think if they can squeeze all the juice out of Kyler Murray, I think he can be a really good quarterback.
Yeah, I mean,
and this is probably the best coaching, best offense he's ever been in his entire football career. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited to watch this team.
Yeah, Kevin O'Connell, he's just an unreal QB whisperer, basically. And the only person that he hasn't really been able to whisper to so far is JJ McCarthy.
Yeah,
I think that's a talent thing because, like, you looked at him in Michigan,
so too. I think
and
so too.
He was fine at Michigan. He did exactly what he needed to do. He was what Mac Jones was at Alabama, but worse. Like Mac Jones could still sling that ball around, you know. Like he's like AJ McCarron at Alabama. Let's go back to that. Like he was good. He did exactly what he needed to do for that Michigan team that had an unreal defense and an unreal running game. He managed those games perfectly. He made plays when he needed to, and then he gets up to the pros, and obviously he tears his ACL right off the rip, right? So he misses the season. He comes back. He wins that first game against the Bears, right, on like Sunday Night Football opening week, and you're like, okay, here it is. And then he gets hurt, the calf injury, and his whole bunch of things kind of went into it. But even when he was healthy, he just like wasn't that good. And Kyler Murray maybe could be better than that. I know Kyler Murray's gone on a downhill spiral for the last several seasons in Arizona, but I think that's what people do when you go to the Arizona Cardinals. You're just kind of stuck in the mud, and yeah, you just kind of go in and out the door with the head coaches and defensive coordinators, offensive coordinators, all the things, weapons, no weapons. Now you're in Minnesota with a guy that really knows how to coach a quarterback. I'm curious to see what it looks like.
Yeah, I think Kyler Murray gives this team an element that they haven't had in recent memory, is a quarterback that can really like actually make plays with his legs. So I think that's the thing I'm most excited about, is what Kevin O'Connell can kind of draw up with that aspect of Kyler Murray. I think the Vikings to me like are one of my most exciting teams. I'm most excited to watch. This team's potential is through the roof. Through the roof.
Yeah, they won 14 games a couple of seasons ago with Sam
Yeah,
Darnold, who we
Sam
just watched
Darnold.
win a
Yeah.
Super Bowl. So,
Yep.
yeah, if they can figure out the quarterback position, their defense is good enough. They only allowed 333 points last season. They scored 344. If you can score over 400 and keep the defense where it's at, the defense
Think
might
they'll be
actually give
great.
up less because the offense is going to score more and keep them off the field a little bit more. Yeah, you can win a lot of games that way.
Yeah, I think they'll be great. Which brings us to our NFC North predictions.
Yeah.
It's gonna be tough, 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 tough.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna let you go first this time. Number 4, you got.
I'm gonna go Packers. Weirdly enough, I'm gonna go Packers.
Some would say that's a hot take. Some would say.
Yeah, and it's not that I think they're going to be under 500. Like, I still think they're going to be fine, but they just tried to fire their coach and gave him an extension. It just doesn't scream faith in your guy. And they don't have a number one guy, and their defense kind of scares me. I think they're the least reliable out of these 4 to win less than 10, or they're the most reliable to win less than 10 games this season, and I think that's the Packers.
I think I'm gonna go Packers too. To me, it was between the Bears and the Packers, and I know I've been talking up Caleb Williams and the Bears, but I do think we talked about like the turnover between winning and losing close games. What are we going to see from the Bears this season on that?
Yeah.
But I just think the Packers, in order for the Packers to really like take control of this division, I think they got to be healthy, and they're going to start the season not healthy with their best defensive player out for a couple weeks. I believe what was it, like 4 or 5 weeks? They said,
yeah, somewhere around Parsons.
There. So I think it's a team that has to get off to a hot start. It's tough to do that when your stalwart defensive player, maybe dark horse defensive player of the year candidate, is out for an extended period of time to start the season. So it's going to be one of those things where I know a lot of Packers fans complain about the head coach. I think those complaints are going to kind of come to fruition. Maybe we might see if they finish 4th in division, like we both think he's going, like we both think they're going to, might get fired. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I was hoping he got fired because then I thought Miami was going to get after him since I hired a Green Bay guy. So I was excited about that prospect. But yeah, I'll take Green Bay. Third, I'm going to go. This is just the hardest division to predict. So like we're going to be wrong regardless. So it doesn't really matter. But I'm going to go Vikings. I don't know what Kyler Murray has. Or what he doesn't have. I have no idea. That's the only question mark. We did this with Sam Darnold 2 years ago. We did this with Sam Darnold last year with the Seahawks. I just don't know what Kyler Murray is anymore, and I'm curious to see what Kevin O'Connell does. Them being third in this division, though, they won 9 games last year. Like they could just win 9 or 10 games again and still be third in this division this year.
I am going to go the Chicago Bears. Again, I know I've been talking this team up, but if they were in any other division, I would probably have them finishing 1 or 2. Like that's how much I believe they can be really good. I think their best is probably not going to be good enough to win the division. Yeah. Their best maybe not good enough to be number 2. I do think it's going to be close between all of these freaking teams in this damn division, obviously. This team still has some questions. We talked about it on defense, particularly. And it's just going to be tough to win games in this division. I've got him finishing 3rd, but I do envision a scenario where Caleb Williams puts up a lot of numbers and he's looking really good and he's in the dark horse MVP conversation, but they might still finish 3rd. That's how good this division is.
It's insane. I've got the Bears 2 in this division, 2nd in the division. I think the offense gets better. I think confidence is a hell of a drug. And that's what Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson have right now. So that offense, I think, is going to be better. I think the weapons are just slightly better this year on the outside, on the wide receiver front. We'll see what the running game looks like. But they've invested in the offensive line. They've invested in the offense. the defense, the turnover ratio is going to probably change a good bit this season. So, but I think the offense is going to be just good enough to kind of mitigate that. So you're to still be around that 10 to 12 win mark. They got 11 last season. So I have them second though.
Number 2. Oh man, this is tough. I'm gonna go Detroit number 2. I'm gonna go Detroit number 2. I think they'll be really, really good. But obviously, like you got process of elimination. You guys know who I have number 1. I think that number 1 team, their defense is just really, really amazing schematically, and I think they're going to frustrate a lot of teams. With the Detroit Lions specifically, I kind of see them similar to the Packers, where we've kind of been on them for a few years, and they kind of just haven't gotten it done. And my trust factor in the Lions, I'm not going to lie to you guys, it was up here maybe last season. It's gone down a little bit. And I don't know about this team, but I just think the other team that I'm going to pick number 1 is they're just going to be really good. They've got the coach, they've definitely got the defense, and we're going to see on the quarterback. But I think this is a division where we have questions about every single quarterback. I think we're not putting any of these guys like top 5, like Patrick Mahomes level or Josh Allen level, where they can just dominate. So Lions number 2.
Yeah, I took the Lions number 1 because I think there's a big bounce back season coming. I think they're a little bit more healthy and they have that infrastructure back. They have a little bit more continuity, 2 seasons running. They were still a really good offense last year. They just weren't exceptionally great, and their defense was pretty much lacking. I think Dan Campbell's going to fix that and make sure that's ready in the locker room, and I think the offense is going to still be really, really good. So I think there's a big bounce back there with continuity, essentially, and injury luck. See if it bounces back. So I'm going to take the Lions 1.
For me, number 1 is the Minnesota Vikings. I love what Brian Flores does with his defense. I think it doesn't really matter. We talked about it. It doesn't really matter who they have on this defense. They're going to give the opposing offense, no matter how talented, no matter how good they are, fits for the entire game. I feel like that's a formula to where, especially the offenses in this division, I think if you can really frustrate them, you can be in a lot of close games, possibly win a lot of close games. And they won 9 games with an awful quarterback situation last season.
Yeah.
I think you mark them down for, if you get okay Kyler Murray, you mark them down for at least 10 wins. I think if you get good Kyler Murray, maybe 12. If you get great Kyler Murray, 13 or 14.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be a resurgence here for Kyler Murray. It could be a career-saving thing for Kyler Murray too. Like, I don't know if anyone's picking him up after this year if he stinks. Like, he might just be done. Someone will pick him up and put him in the backup. We just watched Tua get picked up. So, yeah, never mind. Kyler Murray will get picked up. But, yeah, I think it'll be an interesting season for this division. It's a really fun division to watch. I think there are a lot of different schemes and a lot of different types of players in the division, which makes it really fun to watch. And then that they're all good too. They all won 9+ games last year. You had 3 teams with 9 wins and 1 with 11 wins. I think you could see a little bit of variance in that this season. So it makes it a little volatile, which is more fun to watch for us on Sundays.
I personally wanted to pick the Vikings just because they don't have a lot of names. And I love that. I love that in football where they don't, you have a team that doesn't have names, and it just makes me want to root for you even more.
Yeah. I'm a fan of that. 1972 Dolphins, no name defense.
There you go.
There it is.
Bringing it back.
I was negative how many ever years? My dad was 3 years old, so it's been a while.
Yeah. That's going to do it for our NFC North predictions. Obviously, hot takes over here. You got some. I have a lot. Tell us what you guys think in the comments, man. Hit that notification bell. Get up to date on every single episode release on this podcast. We also have our TikTok, our Instagram, our Twitter popping off. So like, subscribe, follow, all that stuff. And we will see you guys next time on the next episode of Play Action Takes Podcast.
Watch football.
Watch football.